Going full diva. Can you believe this? A jamfluencer going full diva.
Favourite royal couple, Harry and Meghan? Well,
of going full diva. Can you believe this? A jamful influencer going full div. Favorite royal couple, Harry and Meghan. Well, surprise. The chaos brewing in Montecito didn't start with a scandal or a headline, or even some leaked memo from an insider who wishes to remain anonymous. No, this one began exactly the way most things do in Meghan Markle's world, with a demand so outrageous it made an entire PR team collectively reconsider their career choices. Word started trickling out from Montecito early Monday morning. The kind of whispers that get interns refreshing their NDAs and senior staff trip checking their exit strategies. Meghan, apparently in full Duchess mode, had unleashed a new set of requirements for her PR firm. Requirements so over the top that even the Hollywood veterans, the ones who've handled Grammy meltdowns and Oscar feuds, were left blinking in disbelief. It's a PR disaster to have. You know, Pat Tillman's mom saying it's not a good idea for him to receive the reward. And one insider said it best. She didn't ask for miracles. She demanded them loudly. The requests reportedly included everything from reframing her entire public narrative overnight to pushing glowing stories into outlets that barely cover royalty anymore, too, orchestrating what she allegedly called a global empathy reset. No one even knew what that meant. And honestly, no one wanted to ask. Tensions had been simmering for weeks. Meghan's popularity was dipping again. Critics were louder than usual. A few high-profile business deals had stalled. The lifestyle brand wasn't gaining traction the way she expected. And of course, the constant comparisons to Catherine weren't helping. So Meghan did what she always does when the spotlight dims or shifts. She tried to force it back onto herself, no matter the cost. Prince Henry, Charles, Albert, David of Wales, Sussex. What are you doing here? Harry, bless him, tried to keep things calm. But he's long past being the shock absorber between Meghan and the world. Even he seemed overwhelmed this time. One person close to the situation said, Harry looked like a man watching a train he can't stop, pacing the halls while Meghan stormed through meetings like a general planning a battlefield takeover. The PR team, already exhausted from trying to clean up smaller fires for weeks, found themselves suddenly dealing with a wildfire. Meghan, according to sources, demanded the firm counteract every negative story, plant a dozen positive stories, rewrite her public image, reintroduce her as a Hollywood powerhouse, and shut down all online criticism immediately, all before the end of the month. And when the team gently explained that this wasn't realistic, Meghan allegedly snapped. Not frustrated, not disappointed. Full volcanic eruption. Unlike one might say for Harry and Meghan, who yet again seemed to one witness said her voice could crack diamonds. Another said the walls in the Montecito home vibrated. Someone else claimed Harry flinched every time she raised her hand to emphasize a point. And apparently at one point, Meghan went on a tear about how everyone, the press, the palace, the public, even America's elite, had conspired to dim her light. The PR team tried to keep things professional, but it was painfully clear they were done. No amount of crisis management money could make up for the intensity of that meltdown. These were not interns or amateurs. These were industry veterans who had handled celebrities with reputations far more complicated than Meghan's. Yet what broke them wasn't the workload. It was the sense that Meghan wanted them to fight an enemy she kept reinventing day after day, hour after hour. By Tuesday morning, 3 senior staff members had reportedly quit. 2 more submitted notices of departure. Another asked to be transferred off the Sussex account. And the firm's CEO apparently made a gentle but firm call to Harry to say the relationship was no longer a good fit. After a surprising behind-scenes detail about her conduct sent the internet into overdrive. So she appeared on the cover of Harper's Bazaar's, that's PR speak for your wife, burned this bridge down, paved over the ashes, and salted the earth so nothing can grow there again. Meanwhile, Meghan was stunned, genuinely shocked that anyone would walk away from her. The Duchess of Sussex, the woman who once captivated the world's adoration. She allegedly insisted that the firm was failing her, that they weren't elevating her properly, that they lacked vision, and according to insiders, she floated the idea of looking for a world-class firm that understands global royalty and celebrity influence. Translation: a firm that would tell her yes to everything. But here's the twist. Most top PR firms already know her reputation, and many want nothing to do with the nonstop crisis cycles the Sussexes generate. It's not about politics, royalty, or even public opinion. It's about the impossible goal of being expected to shape a narrative, when Meghan changes it every 3 days. So, their latest sort of chief of staff that they hired. Who was this sort of PRR man extraordinaire has back in the Montecito mansion? Tensions reached a breaking point. Meghan paced through the living room, firing off ideas about her next big move, while Harry sat quietly absorbing the fallout like he always does. Staff members were seen leaving the property with tight expressions, clutching laptops and folders like relics from a disaster site. And then came the final blow. A leaked internal memo, allegedly from the PR team, began circulating online. It didn't reveal confidential details, but it described the account as unmanageable, citing unrealistic expectations and a hostile work environment created by the client. Social media exploded. Commentators had a field day. Critics laughed. Even supporters were stunned that another PR meltdown had happened so soon after the last one. Meghan reportedly went absolutely nuts when she saw the memo. She called the leak a betrayal. She blamed the firm. She blamed the palace. She blamed online trolls. She blamed the media. She blamed institutional resentment of her success. The one person she didn't blame herself. Harry tried to calm her down, but even he looked defeated. Like he knew this wasn't a battle any PR team could fix. He knew the pattern. Meghan pushes. The team tries, the demands escalate, the relationship collapses, and then another team steps in, hoping for the best, and the cycle begins again. But this time, something feels different. This wasn't just a bad week or a few snappy emails. This was an implosion big enough that PR firms across LA reportedly started warning each other about the Montecito problem. Even Hollywood insiders whispered that Meghan's reputation behind the scenes is becoming harder to repair than her public one. And if Meghan can't keep a PR team, the very people whose job is to save reputations, then what does that say about the chaos erupting behind those mansion walls? Because right now, Montecito looks a lot less like a peaceful celebrity enclave and more like a PR crime scene. And just when you think the Montecito madness couldn't get any louder, oh, trust me, it does. Because the moment Meghan realizes this latest PR team is edging toward the exit, suddenly the household energy shifts. Harry starts pacing the hallways. The staff begins tiptoeing around like they're walking on broken ornaments. Meghan starts acting like she's in the third act of a prestige drama, where she alone has to defeat the villains sabotaging her legacy. Now, the villains, of course, are her own PR strategists, the ones she hired, the ones she approved after 27 interviews and a background check more intense than MI5. These poor souls probably came into the job thinking they'd be smoothing brand messaging, maybe coordinating magazine shoots, maybe editing a few speeches. They had no idea they'd be expected to reinvent the entire global perception of Meghan Markle single-handedly before lunch. The tension starts building the moment the team tries to gently suggest that maybe, just maybe, the public doesn't always respond well to being scared into liking someone. One of them phrases it carefully, saying something like, "We may want to consider a softer tone in upcoming messaging." And Meghan's face. You can practically hear the record scratch in the background. Because in Meghan's mind, softening is code for dim your light. And if there's one thing she refuses to do, it's dimming anything. Suddenly, the conversation shifts. Meghan begins pacing the room, talking about how she's being sabotaged, how people inside the house don't understand her brand, how certain Staff aren't aligned with her vision. She even hints very dramatically that she might need to bring in people who truly appreciate what she brings to the table. And that right there is when the PR team knows they're done. But the chaos doesn't stop there. You see, in the Marl playbook, nothing happens quietly. So the moment she senses the PR team pulling away emotionally, she doubles down. She starts issuing long-stream directives at all hours, sending paragraphs of demands that would make even the most seasoned crisis manager cry into their keyboard. She wants a new documentary concept drafted by tomorrow. She wants options for a new philanthropic campaign that centers around her but doesn't look like it centers around her. She wants a strategy for dealing with haters, a plan for reclaiming the narrative, a push to elevate the conversation, and this is the cherry on top. She wants the team to brainstorm ways to build a new global movement centered around empathy. Empathy from the person melting down at her PR staff. Obviously, it didn't go in your favor. I want to start by asking what this meanwhile. Harry is in the next room looking like a man who desperately wants noise-canceling headphones for emotions. He's overwhelmed, exhausted, and very visibly trying to play mediator. He keeps popping. What kind of celebrity causes seasoned PR professionals to quietly warn each other to stay away? Not because of scandals splashed across headlines, not because of leaked texts or court drama, but because of what allegedly happens behind closed doors. According to reports and insider chatter, the latest chaos surrounding Meghan Markle didn't begin with a public misstep at all. It started privately inside Montecito, with a demand so extreme that it reportedly left an entire PR team questioning why they ever took the job in the first place. Reports suggest the tension began early one week when word started spreading inside Meghan's PR firm that a new set of expectations had landed. Not requests, not goals, demands. Allegedly, Meghan wanted nothing less than a complete overnight transformation of her public image. Sources claim she pushed for glowing stories placed in outlets that barely cover royal news anymore. A rapid shutdown of online criticism, and something she reportedly called a global empathy reset. No one was quite sure what that meant, and according to insiders, no one dared ask. The instructions weren't framed as collaborative brainstorming. They were framed as outcomes that needed to happen immediately. And that was only the beginning. Behind the scenes, pressure had already been building. Meghan's popularity metrics, according to commentators, weren't trending the way she expected. Several ventures appeared to stall. The lifestyle branding push wasn't taking off. Media coverage felt colder. And the constant comparisons to Catherine, fair or not, only added fuel to the frustration. Insiders say Meghan doesn't respond well when attention drifts. When the spotlight softens, she pushes harder. And this time, the push reportedly turned aggressive. Harry, according to people close to the situation, tried to play peacemaker, but even he seemed overwhelmed. One source described him as watching something unravel in slow motion, fully aware he couldn't stop it. Things reportedly escalated during a series of tense meetings. When the PR team tried to explain that reshaping public perception on that scale couldn't happen overnight, Meghan allegedly didn't take it as feedback. Reports claim she took it as resistance. Witnesses describe raised voices, sharp accusations, and an atmosphere that shifted from professional to volatile in minutes. This wasn't frustration simmering quietly. It was, according to insiders, explosive. And what unsettled the team most wasn't the workload. It was the sense that the target kept moving. One day it was the media. The next day it was social platforms. Then it was unnamed enemies working against her success. The narrative, they say, changed constantly. But the expectations never eased. By the next morning, the fallout had already begun. According to reports, multiple senior staff members either resigned or requested immediate removal from the account. Others reportedly submitted notices quietly, hoping to exit without triggering another confrontation. Eventually, leadership stepped in. Sources claim a call was placed to Harry, politely explaining that the firm no longer believed the relationship was sustainable. In PR language, that's not a misunderstanding. That's a full stop. Meghan, however, was reportedly stunned. Insiders say she insisted the firm failed her, lacked vision, and didn't understand the scale of who she is. She allegedly began floating the idea of finding a world-class firm that truly understood global influence. Translation, critics say, a team that would never say no. But then came the moment that turned whispers into headlines. An alleged internal memo, said to be from within the PR firm, began circulating online. It didn't reveal private details, but it reportedly described the account as unmanageable, citing unrealistic expectations and a hostile working environment. The internet erupted. Commentators dissected every word. Critics mocked the situation. Even supporters were left uneasy. Another PR breakdown. Again, according to reports, Meghan went ballistic when she saw it. She allegedly called it a betrayal, blamed the firm, blamed the palace, blamed the media, blamed online trolls. Everyone except herself. Harry, sources say, tried to calm her, but even he looked defeated. Like someone who had seen this cycle before and knew how it ended. And this time, the damage didn't stop with one firm. Industry chatter suggests PR agencies across Los Angeles quietly took note. Some allegedly warned colleagues to be cautious. Others reportedly added the Sussexes to internal high-risk lists. Not because of politics, not because of public opinion, but because of volatility. PR professionals thrive on shaping narratives, but they can't do that when the narrative shifts every few days. Insiders claim that became the real problem. The work wasn't impossible. The environment was. And once that reputation takes hold behind the scenes, it's nearly impossible to undo. As the team edged toward the exit, tension inside the Montecito home reportedly skyrocketed. Staff members were seen leaving with laptops and folders, expressions tight, conversations hushed. Meghan, according to sources, paced the house, firing off new ideas, new directives, new demands. Harry reportedly hovered nearby, trying to keep things from boiling over, but failing. The atmosphere wasn't calm. It was frantic. And when Meghan sensed the PR team emotionally checking out, she allegedly doubled down. Long messages, late-night emails, rapid-fire instructions. Draft a new documentary idea. Brainstorm a philanthropic campaign that centers her without centering her. Create a strategy to silence critics. Build a global movement around empathy. Empathy, critics note, while her staff was reportedly melting down by midweek. The PR team was effectively gone, though still technically employed. Then Meghan reportedly called an emergency meeting. Sources say she delivered a long speech about loyalty, dedication, and vision before dropping the line that ended everything. Some people, she allegedly said, just didn't have the capacity to keep up. Translation understood instantly. The team responded professionally, agreed to transition documents, and logged off. And the moment they did, Montecito reportedly descended into chaos. Emails flying. Files transferring. Staff quietly celebrating their escape while pretending not to. But here's where the irony hits. Just days later, panic reportedly set in. Without a PR team, Meghan had no buffer, no filter, no one to help craft the next move. So she pivoted immediately, pushing Harry to help find a new, better, superior team. According to insiders, Harry looked exhausted, because by then, most firms already knew the story. Some declined politely. Others didn't respond at all. A few reportedly refused outright. And each rejection only fueled Meghan's frustration further. She allegedly stormed around the house, ranting about betrayal, incompetence, and how people were intimidated by greatness. As days passed and options dried up, Meghan reportedly floated an idea that stunned even Harry. What if she ran her own PR? No one understands her narrative like she does. She allegedly said, according to observers, that's when Harry's expression went completely blank. Because without a team to slow things down, every impulse became a strategy. Every annoyance became a public stance. Every moment became urgent. Montecito insiders claim transformed into a nonstop brainstorming war room with no breaks. And that's when the pattern became impossible to ignore. This wasn't about one PR firm failing Meghan. This wasn't about bad advice or poor execution. According to industry insiders, this was about a client who burns through teams the moment they stop worshiping her vision exactly as she demands. A cycle of pressure, escalation, collapse, and reset, over and over again. And now, as the PR world quietly backs away, one question lingers. If the people whose entire job is to protect reputations won't touch this situation anymore, what exactly is happening behind those mansion walls that the public still hasn't seen?